So here we are with the official announcement slash reveal of the 70th anniversary tease that SH Monster Arts put up, I guess a day or two ago at this point in time. So we have the poster version of the Godzilla 1954 figure, which is, the mold's been out and it's been reissued a few times now, but now we have it in a new color scheme along with a couple of accessories. So pre-orders are going to be opening June 3rd, which is, I guess, a little bit more than a week away from now. It'll be coming out in November, just in time for the 70th anniversary. The price tag, 13,200 yen, which we'll talk about a little bit. People aren't that happy about it, and I definitely can understand why. So here is the figure next to the poster from which it's taking its inspiration. The figure comes with a couple of airplane fighters as well as a beam effect to replicate the look on the poster. Now, I'm unaware of whether or not the actual suit used to film the movie took on this coloration, or if this is strictly meant to represent the colors that are used on the poster. But I gotta say that having this figure, having this character in color, which is not something we see very often, does add like a new breath of life into the sculpt and into the suit. So here he is, a little bit larger of a picture, but we'll keep scrolling down. We'll start taking a look at some of the accessories that he comes with. So on the left side here, you can see that the plane does come with a stand, and it's the stand is like 20 times larger in bulk than the actual plane. And for me personally, I really don't like when you have small accessories attached to super large stands. This doesn't really do anything for me. It doesn't look like he's being displayed with a plane. It looks like he's being displayed with a beam, like a beam effect stand, right? Just because of how small the plane is proportionally. So I don't really like that. I wish that it came with a stand similar to the event exclusive Kong 21 figure, where it has like the 3 heaves attached on a very like a flexible bendy wire type material, just because that it looks cleaner to me. The planes don't get absorbed by the sheer size of the stand that they're on. Now, if they use the heave stands, they probably would be too short, but it seems like something that you could fix pretty easily. So not the biggest fan of that. But if you look on the right side here, you have the picture of Godzilla holding one of the planes like he did in the poster, and if I were to pick up this release, this is probably the approach that I would take as well. Moving along, you can see he also comes with a beam effect, and the thing that is not clear to me through these photos is how the beam effect plugs in, for lack of a better term. Like, clearly it's not going to plug into the mouth. It's sort of just resting there. And I don't think that Godzilla 1954, the original mold, had a port in the mouth, and I very strongly doubt that Tamashii would remold the mouth to do that. So I'm not sure if it just is supposed to rest there. My worst fear for this would be that it uses the display effect, or the display part here, which means that you have to now choose between using this for the planes or using it for the beam. So that's my biggest worry. I don't know if it maybe just rests in like some of the notches on the base plates. So yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. He comes with a couple alternate hands as well. I'm guessing these are the gripping hands meant to actually hold the planes, which is interesting. And then on the right side here, you have the 70th anniversary plate, the display plate for him to stand on to celebrate 78 years of Godzilla, which is cool. I don't think this is something that we've seen in the line in a long time. I think, if I remember correctly, some of the earlier accessory sets might have had something similar to this. But it's been a while since we've had anything like that. And it does look pretty cool. There he is standing on the plate. I think that this is the type of release where you wouldn't necessarily want him displayed with other figures. He would kind of be on his own shelf doing his own thing. One thing that I forgot to talk about really briefly about this beam effect is that one of the reasons I like it, and this is coming from someone who doesn't really display beam effects, is that the beam effect seems to be rather transferable, for lack of a better term. Like, if you wanted to display this with Gigan or with some other monster, it probably transitions pretty well. I don't see it being... I don't see it being like something that has to be displayed with this figure. You could probably move it around, which is always appreciated for sure. So moving down, here's like the final big promo shot of the figure, and he looks cool. He looks great. I really like the coloration. I do think, I don't know if this is gonna pop up something. No, it's not. There are things that make me think that this prototype that they photographed is actually just a production copy of the previous mold painted over, because you can see some of those colors peeking through, and that probably makes sense from a budget perspective to just take one that you already had on the shelf from a previous reissue to color. But hopefully he doesn't come out looking like just a dusty version of G64. Hopefully the paint scheme is distinct enough that it feels like its own release. So let's talk a little bit more about this price tag, 13,200 yen. I know that the first issue of Godzilla 1954, this mold, was released for something closer to 8,400 yen, which means that we're talking an increase in price of over 50%, right? Like you're starting to approach twice the cost, but it's closer to 50% increase, which is sizable, and I've seen quite a few folks that are really discouraged by that, and I completely understand why. It's it's a hard pill to swallow. I've said multiple times on this channel that I believe that when you do a repaint, like a straight repaint of a figure that doesn't have any new molds or new mold in it, that you should include accessories and things in the box to sweeten the deal a little bit. Because once this figure is made, once you've got the tooling for it, you know, the tooling is one of your most sizable costs. It could be as much as 50% the cost of making your figure. So you're going to be making a lot of savings on this reissue, and that I think you should throw some other stuff in the box to pass along some of those savings to the customer, create a better value of you know, a better package, right? More bang for your buck. I would expect more like these planes and a beam effect. Like this makes total sense for a repaint, but to charge 50% more just seems like it just doesn't feel good. It really doesn't feel good, and so I don't like that. I really don't like that. Now, as this affects me as a Canadian customer, 13,200 yen equates to about 115 Canadian dollars, and so if I were to import this thing, we would get somewhere closer to 145 to 150 Canadian dollars. The original 1954 MonsterArts figure is available on Amazon Canada for about 135, 136 Canadian dollars, which, after our federal tax, it's going to be closer to 155 Canadian dollars, which means that if you don't have this mold and you're in Canada, the first issue of the figure and this new version of the character are going to run you about the same price. So it's, you know, I laugh because it's funny, but it's also absurd because it's like we Canadians get so screwed on our conversion rate that the insane price of this matches the insane price of the original and what you can get it for, you know, here in Canada. And I say insane price. I don't mean it's an insane price. I just think it's definitely artificially inflated for sure. So for me, am I going to be picking this figure up? It's a general release, so it should be, you know, available in you know, reasonable amounts. For me, I don't think that this is something that I'm particularly in any rush to get. If I were to find a good deal on it, then maybe I would pick it up. You know, I don't know if there would be any reason to pick it up to unbox on the channel, just because this is a mold that everyone has seen before and everybody seems to like. So unless they spectacularly screw it up and it makes for a good video, I don't think it would be something good to cover on the channel. And I think that because it's the 70th anniversary of Godzilla this year, I have a hunch that this is not the only 1954 that we will be seeing solicited this year. And maybe if Mezco ever comes out with their Kaiju Collective version, we'll see that, you know, hopefully in time for the 70th anniversary. So, if you hate this thing, though, you know, maybe that's a good thing, because we've got Jet Jaguar still coming out, Mogera, minus color, Godzilla Evolved, Shin Ortho, and we've got Scar King. We also know that Shimo is coming. Maybe not this year, maybe early next year, but there's still a lot on deck. There's a lot of money here in pre-orders. If it's not at $1,000 worth of pre-orders, it's definitely approaching $1,000 worth of pre-orders. So, you know, if you're not feeling it, maybe this is a blessing in disguise. I do feel as though this release is rather inoffensive. You know, even the folks who aren't really interested in picking it up are accepting of why it exists, and they think that it's neat. Which is great to see, right? When a figure comes out that people don't vibe with, I think that more people should just be like, nah, not for me. I'll wait for the next thing. So, that's it for me. So, are you going to be picking this figure up? Let me know in the comment section down below. Have a great Friday, great start to your weekend, and I'll talk to you again soon. So, yeah, take care, guys.